Welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen. It is spectacular to be with you today. How we doing? How's everybody? Y'all doing all right? I hope so. Welcome into the show. Gonna be a busy one on the radio broadcast. I am Rob Brown, the great Malonzo, out on a well-earned vacation this weekend. He is at the Casa de Reitzel, spending his time getting haircuts and buying shoes like adults do on their vacation. Sitting on the other side of the metaphorical glass with us today, the guy in charge of the radio broadcast, my man T2 Tim Snow, the Timinator, is in the building. What's up, fella?
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Not much, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Doing
great.
Dude, roll
much
up
better
in here.
than yesterday.
I know, because you just rolled up here with an entire breakfast buffet.
Oh, yeah, man.
I get it. I'm not going to lie. I am in the process of getting unfatter, and then I had a donut this morning. So there's just days, T2, that you can be doing well. I've been really getting the discipline out. I've been getting up earlier in the morning. Yesterday, I went and spent an obscene amount of money on a pair of fitted, customized running shoes so that I could get my fat behind out and pound some pavement, lose some weight. And was really proud of myself. I checked in this morning. I'm down like 10 pounds since 2 weeks ago. Absolutely killing it. And then on the way to work this AM, I stopped at a gas station because I, had to get the Monster. I've switched from Gatorade to Gatorade Zero so that, no sugar, no carbs. It's just like if they took all the good stuff out of Gatorade and left the bad stuff, that's what it tastes like. Stopped and got my Gatorade Zero, and as I was about to check out, in the little display case to the right of the checkout register, there was there were donuts, and there was a guy from the donut place putting the fresh pastries out. And I was like,
it's just a temptation, yeah.
How do you people that have what's the word? Discipline, willpower, ability, how the hell do y'all do it? So I asked that half as a question and half as a statement. Like, I truly don't understand, because again, you know what I did for dinner last night? Last night for dinner, I made the lady friend and I stuffed bell peppers. One of my favorite meals.
Ooh, right? Stuffed bell peppers?
Yes.
What are they stuffed with?
So I used to use ground beef. Coated in taco seasoning.
Oh,
all right. Then you take some diced tomatoes, mix them in there. I'll even give you the 2-second recipe. Cut the bell peppers in half. Obviously, you take the seeds and the membrane out. Put them in the oven at 425 for about 12 minutes.
Oh,
all right.
Say
Get
less,
nice
man.
and early roasted. Then while that's going on, you take yourself some onions, yellow onion, chop them up, dice them up real small, real fine. Put them in a frying pan, medium heat, saute them till they get nice and clear and caramelized. Then you dump. I used to use ground beef. Now I use ground turkey because, again, I'm fat. Ground turkey.
You're not fat.
Put some taco seasoning, some chili powder, some garlic, some oregano on there. Mix it up real good. Brown that on top. Once it gets almost all the way browns, take either a 2 full or a can of diced tomatoes, dump that on there, stir it all together, let it start to boil on
My mouth is literally watering right now.
Then when you've got about a minute left on that, I want you to take a big hand. Now, last night I used low-fat cheese, which is not cheese, but it's the best I can do. But take you a big old hand of pepper jack cheese, throw that on the top, mix it up so that it gets real, real cheesy and creamy. Then you take the roasted bell peppers out of the oven. All right. You take a spoon, you fill each half a bell pepper up level to the top with that stuff. Then you take just the littlest, just a sprinkle of Parmesan or mozzarella. You sprinkle it on top of each one, pop it back into the oven for about 17 minutes, let it finish roasting. It's going to be delightful. So I made that last night. I switched the ground beef over to turkey. I went with the tomatoes. I did fresh tomatoes, so there were no preservatives in it. I did the whole thing super, super healthy. And when I got done with 2 of them, I stopped, right? Because usually I get to like 7. I eat like 7 of those before I go to bed. I got to 2. And I stopped. And then yesterday, I went and I spent an obscene amount of money to have my feet measured and stenographed or whatever the hell you want to call it, and purchased a customized fitted pair of running shoes, right? Because again, fat. So I can't really run I used to be an athlete, dude. I used to play like 40-minute basketball games.
Oh, yeah.
No subs. I was fine. Now it's like if I walk to the end of the driveway and I hustle back, I want to die. So
Oh, yeah, I can relate to that.
Used to be an athlete.
Yeah.
Except for now it's gotten to the point where if I run too much, literally my feet kill me, right? So I went yesterday and I spent an obscene amount of money and I got myself a nice custom fitted pair of running shoes. Like they match to distribute the weight and all that. I went last night after I had my 2 stuffed bell peppers. I threw on my custom fitted running shoes. I went out and I did 2.5 miles, half jog, half walk. All right.
Oh, yeah?
Half jog, half walk.
That's pretty good, though.
I felt great.
Yeah.
I felt great. I didn't get the runner's high because runner's high is not real. You're all a bunch of damn filthy liars. But I like 2.5 miles, half run, half jog, half walk. Felt real good. Got back inside, took a hot shower, relaxed a little bit. Like felt really good about my day. All right. For dessert, the lady friend and I snagged a bag of sugar-free Hershey chocolates.
The fiance now.
Oh, good call. Good call.
Yeah.
The lady fiance and I grabbed a bag of sugar-free Hershey chocolate. And I even convinced myself it was good. All right. It's not, but I convinced myself it was. I had a wonderful day. All right. I did real good for myself.
You should be proud of yourself.
I was damn proud of myself. I'm like, you know what? This is how you get less fat, right? Stuffed bell peppers, sugar-free chocolate, no junk during the day, 2.5 miles at night. You're doing good, man. We'll up that. We'll up that tomorrow to 3. We'll go to 3 miles tomorrow. And if we still feel good, we'll up it to 4. Let's do this. Then I went to bed and I woke up and I felt real good, right? I was like, I got the jitters out last night with the run. I ate healthy yesterday. I feel energized. I'm good to go. I woke up and I got dressed, got ready to go. Got in the car, stopped in. Every morning I stop at the gas station. Same gas station every day. The front lady there is very nice. Actually, there was a fellow filling in today named Quinn who played professional hockey in New York. Gave me his whole backstory. I loved it. I stayed in the gas station like 10 minutes listening to this guy talk. It was great. But went in, got my Monster Energy Zero Ultra, 10 calories, no fat, 16% of my daily sodium. So sodium. Like it's not good for me. It's just the least awful for me.
Yeah, I used to drink those.
Went in and got my Monster. And as I was sitting there getting ready to check out, up walks the dude in the little pastry stand and he pops in there a couple of fresh donuts. And I was like,
why'd you do that?
Yeah. And my brain goes,
why'd you do that, man?
My brain goes, you earned this. You did so good yesterday. You earned this. And then here's the part that kills me, right? Here's the part that kills me. I get the donuts, all right? And my fat ass got 2 of them. I couldn't just get 1, right? I couldn't just get 1. I got 2 because they had 2 different kinds that I couldn't decide which one I wanted. So I get the 2 donuts and I get in the car and I'm driving to the studio and I pop down a donut. And I get done with the donut. And I'm like, dude, you didn't you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have had that donut.
That's why they call it a guilty pleasure.
Shouldn't have had that donut. And I knew I shouldn't have had that donut. So I took the other donut and I put it in the bag, right? I've got a computer bag that I bring up every day. It's got my laptop in it.
Yeah.
It's got the charger. It's got my notepad. It's got my good pens. It's got everything I need.
Oh, it was covered, right?
Yep.
I would hope.
And I popped the donut down into the bag, telling myself, when you get upstairs, throw this away, you fat, obnoxious loser, right?
You shouldn't talk to yourself
Negative
that way,
reinforcement. When you get upstairs, throw this donut away, you absolute worthless piece of trash. So I came upstairs and I set the bag down and I put my Gatorade Zero in the cooler we definitely don't have in the office. And I popped up the laptop, got it plugged into the display, did all my morning routine, right? Like I got a routine when I get to the office, do the laptop, do this to this, move this to the fridge, get my notepad, put it in my spot, make sure I have my 3 color-coded pens where I need them, do all of that. And then when I got done with all of that, I went back into the laptop to get out my charger, my phone charger. When I reached in there, what did I find? A donut. And then what did I do with the donut? I ate the freaking donut, right?
Yeah.
The same donut
you should have threw it out the window.
14 minutes ago, I convinced myself, throw the donut away, fatty, right?
Yeah.
Like, we don't have a date for the wedding, but you know it's coming in a couple of years, and you do not want the shirt of the tuxedo spilling out over the pants. You fat lard, get it together. I'm talking about myself and no one else, by the way. Stop it. Don't eat the donut. And then it's like, as soon as I saw the donut, I was just like, oh, donuts are so good.
well,
God,
see, you asked earlier how people have like the willpower to not do that. I think that instead of calling yourself a fat, whatever you were calling yourself, the negative reinforcement that you were saying, maybe you should just not do that in your head. Because you can't talk down to yourself and expect different.
Nah, it is what it is. All right, it just is what it is. So I ate both donuts, and now I'm like, all right, you know what? Do 3.5, like add a full mile on tonight. That's not the cost of a whole donut, but like you got to do something. Anyway, the point of all of that is, those of you that do this, right? That are like the people who can go out and tell themselves, oh, I'm just gonna have a beer, and then just have a beer. Right? Or the people that are like, I'm not going to have a donut. And then, or somehow worse, the people who say, I'll just have half a donut and then just have half a donut. Like, were you bitten by a radioactive spider or something?
I can do that.
Freaking superpower.
I can do that, but I'm not a big fan of donuts. I would say like my guilty pleasure would be something like just like candy, like chocolate is mine. Like I can't
same thing.
I can't have if I told my wife a long time ago, don't get like a big bag of chocolate. Yeah. I will eat all of it.
I told the fiance the other day, I'm like, please stop bringing candy in the house. And she's like, if you don't want it, don't eat it. I'm like, that's not how it works.
Yeah, you can't.
If it's there, I eat it.
Yeah.
Joey B just said, I can't do that. All weight loss I've ever had in my life has been a product of self-loathing. Correct. Yeah. I don't do a thing until I hate myself enough because I didn't do the thing. That's how it works. Right? I come home. I guess so. I'm not the cleanest guy in the world. Fiance has learned that. I'm not the cleanest guy in the world. But there is about once a month a point where I go into the man cave and I look around and I'm like, this is disgusting, you pile of trash, clean it. And then it's like spotless. Weight loss, same way. I've done this 100 times. I've yo-yoed down to a great, like I look good, I can tuck my shirt in again. When I take off my shirt at the beach, people don't try to roll me back into the water before I dry out. And I'll get to a good weight. And then I stop hating myself. So I just get fat again. What are you going to do? That's life, right?
Well, I mean, I was just saying, maybe if you wanted to try another way, it could work.
I don't. That's all that works. He needs therapy. All right. We got a busy show lined up for you today. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday, I told you that the Carolina Panthers were having, in my ever so humble yet frequently correct opinion, that the Carolina Panthers were having the best offseason of any team in the National Football League. I'm going to stand by that, but I had a couple of fans, a couple of haters, couple of fans tell me that they think other teams have done just a little bit better. We're going to break down the NFL, see who is truly having the best offseason in the National Football League. Plus, speaking of the Panthers, Frank Reich and Scott Fitterer have both had some heavily veiled comments about the direction that the team wants to go in regarding their quarterback selection in the first round of the National Football League draft. They have told us not very much so far. So what can we decipher from this last round of comments? We'll take a look at that coming up later on in the show. Clemson and South Carolina, spring ball underway as we speak. What updates do we have? We'll get into that in just a little while. And coming up next on the show, Roger Goodell is the commissioner of the National Football League. And he just got an extension and a raise. Why? It's a very easy way to make a lot of money. Roger Goodell has mastered it. I'll tell you what it is when we come back. My name is Rob Brown. T2, the great one, the Timinator, is on the other side. Texter said, what the hell did I tune into? The Chronicles of Fat Bastard? Kinda. I call myself that all the time. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show with the Fan Upstate. Got a live read, guys. Stay right there. We'll be right back. All right, dudes and dudettes. We back. Sorry about that. Forgot to turn the sound on.
Crap.
All right, real quick, little kids out there. Don't be like Uncle Rob. All right, be nice to yourself. Be kind to yourself. If you wouldn't tell your friends that you love that they're a fat, worthless tub of lard, don't tell yourself that, even if you are. All right. Let's get to some stuff, shall we? Let's get to some stuff. Roger Goodell just got himself another extension and another raise. He has gone from making fat stacks to slightly fatter stacks. Goodell and the NFL's franchise owners are expected to finalize a multi-year contract extension at next week's owners meetings in Phoenix, according to Adam Schefter. Terms of the deal have not yet been reported, but they are expected to be incentive-laden and expected to be the richest ever given to any commissioner in any sport. Schefter says that likely means that Goodell will receive north of $63.9 million that he was reported to have received for the 2020 to 2021 season. The proposed deal will be presented by the NFL's compensation committee, which received permission to begin working with the contract last season. And those team owners will hear that presentation on Tuesday. This would be the fourth extension Goodell has received since taking over from Paul Tagliabue back in 2006. Previous deals came in 2009, 2012, and 2017. Since that last deal, the NFL has successfully negotiated a collective bargaining agreement with the NFLPA and a $110 billion television rights deal with its existing partners and Amazon, which run through at least 2030. During that time, the NFL has seen its value skyrocket. The Denver Broncos just sold for an NFL record $4.5 billion. But there has also been plenty of controversy during Roger Goodell's time. Washington Commanders owner Dan Snyder has continued to be a boil upon the league's rear end and recently looped in Goodell over a previously unknown loan issued to the team. The commissioner also admitted fault for the league's treatment of Colin Kaepernick after receiving criticism for its reaction to the death of George Floyd. Schefter notes that this upcoming extension could be 64-year-old Goodell's last as commissioner, as previous commissioners Tagliabue and Pete Rozelle both left the job at 65 and 63 reported, which of course means that if Goodell does indeed follow precedent and step down in his mid-60s, which would be after this upcoming extension, that the NFL could get embroiled in a succession battle for who is going to be the next NFL commissioner. Now, blah, blah, blah. Let's be honest. None of us really care about it. We don't care, right? We don't care. We just want to know why it is, with Roger Goodell being nearly universally disliked by fans and nearly universally beloved by the owners, why this keeps happening. Well, there's two reasons. Number one is sometimes there are things in sports that are tough to hear. Number one is nothing matters to the league more than money. Not you as a fan, not any individual owner, no player. Nothing matters more to the league than making sure that revenue goes up year after year. And as long as revenue continues to go up year after year, Roger Goodell's in a fine spot. So we, and I put myself in this group, we as a collective of NFL fans have every single right to gripe, to moan, to complain about the National Football League in the clutches of Roger Goodell. But here is the reality. The reality is very simple. If you keep watching the National Football League, if the ratings of the National Football League continue to be where they are and grow as they are and have been, that television revenue comes in. And if that television revenue comes in, Roger Goodell's job is going just swimmingly. That's all there is to it. Part number 2 about Roger Goodell and the reason he's getting fat stacks is very simple. It is 100% because of the fact that Roger Goodell is the beat-up guy for the owners, right? Roger Goodell does not strictly make decisions on behalf of the league. Never has, never will, no commissioner will. The rules of the league are dictated predominantly by the owners of the franchise. The owners of the franchise, when they get the opportunity, are going to make policy decisions that benefit themselves. Let's be honest, most of us would and frankly do. So it doesn't really matter how the decision-making policies of the league impact fans at all. It only matters how the NFL's policy-making decisions impact the players when it comes to collective bargaining. So if the NFL is able to get the majority of what it wants policy-wise, and Roger Goodell is able to smooth that over enough with the NFLPA that collective bargaining continues to be successful every time that they go to the table, then Roger Goodell's doing his job. Let me tell you a little secret. And this is true about broadcasting. It is true about entertainment. It is true about business. It is true about religion. It is true about every sociological structure that human beings are involved in. Inherently, everything is going to make decisions that are self-serving and that benefit nothing and no one but the entity itself, right? I don't care what structure you're talking about. The NFL is this way. Your local mom and pop bakery is this way. Your church is this way. Your local, county, state, and federal governments are this way. Any entity that is comprised of one or more people is going to make self-serving decisions that benefit no one but itself. That's just human nature. That's just what it is, right? I'll tell you a really good way to make money. If you are willing to be the bad guy publicly, if you are willing to fall on the sword while other people prosper, they'll give you a cut to do it, right? In any group, in any entity. And if you are able to fall on the sword while another entity profits and do so in a way that with a silver tongue, you can convince people that those self-serving decisions aren't self-serving, you can make a lot of money, right? You can make a lot of money. We see it happen in, again, every entity comprised of one or more peoples. If you are able to take a group of people who make decisions that are solely, squarely based on their own profit, their own revenue, their own self-interest, and you are able to convince the people that those self-serving decisions actively hurt, that they don't hurt them or that they don't hurt them that bad, the people who are going to benefit more will give you a cut to do just that. That is Roger Goodell's job, right? Think about this. Talk about the concussion thing. The concussion thing has come squarely to the forefront of the National Football League's attention over the past couple of years. We're aware of that, right? There's been movies made about it. There's been books written about it. It has been a major talking point in the National Football League for many, many years now. We know that the NFL makes decisions regarding CTE and concussions that are self-serving. that seek to protect it from long-term financial consequences that put football players in jeopardy. We know that they make decisions that benefit the league, that put the long-term health and well-being of players within it at risk. Roger Goodell's job is very simple. Roger Goodell's job is to go out and convince us it's not that bad. It's not that bad. His job is to go out and convince us to keep watching football even when we know that they may not be taking enough and adequate enough steps to prevent this from being the reality. That's Roger Goodell's job. And Roger Goodell is very good at it. And every time that Roger Goodell does this, the owners benefit from it, right? Because if the processes, the steps, the protocols, and the procedures were put in place to make football more safe, if the policies, procedures, and protocols were put in place to safeguard the long-term health of NFL football players, the owners would have to invest a solid chunk of their own change into revising, adapting, and executing those policies, procedures, and protocols. Boil that down, they would have to spend money, their money, in order to do that. So Roger Goodell has to do whatever he can to create a world where those investments don't happen, meaning that that money stays in the pocket of the NFL owners, A, and B, has to do it enough that football players go, yeah, my brains might turn into a big vat of mashed potatoes, but it'll be worth it, right? It'll be just fine when it's all said and done. In theory, if you come from the same side of the spectrum that I do on this particular topic, that would make Roger Goodell the bad guy, right? Roger Goodell is the guy covering for the owners so that they don't have to invest in better preventative measures for CTE, for head issues, etc., for mental health across the league. They save that money, and players will continue to play even in the face of those things. In theory, if this were a script, that would make Roger Goodell the bad guy. You don't have to like it, but it is what it is. It would absolutely make him the bad guy. But Roger Goodell is very good at his job. And so instead of looking at this, as to me, logically we should, and say, hey, Roger Goodell's the bad guy, he is shielding the people who have the most responsibility from the people that it impacts the most and from the people who have the ability, by voting with the wallet, to demand that change, to create enough momentum to implement that change. That's Roger Goodell's job. That's why Roger Goodell is going to make probably in the ballpark of $68 million moving forward per year to continue to do what he's doing for the league. It's really simple. There is a ton of money in being willing to step up to protect something that is inherently bad as good, to deflect something that is inherently self-serving as for the benefit of the group, and perhaps the most profitable of all, to convince people that something that is self-serving for the minority is actually good for the majority. There are political think tanks and lobby groups on both sides of the aisle in American politics who get paid a lot of money from self-serving entities to convince both politicians and the American public that things that are good for the goose are good for the gander, when the goose is actually the fox trying to invade the henhouse. That's a farm metaphor. There are people who get paid mucho dinero to take things that are obviously bad for the public and spin them with a silver tongue in a way that make you believe that, nope, that's counterintuitive. It's actually good for us. That's what Roger Goodell does for a living, right? I have told you guys many times that I do not have a favorable view of Roger Goodell. To me, Roger Goodell is a clown. Now, do I think that Roger Goodell knows what he's doing? We all know somebody that would sell our metaphorical soul in order to make a dime by touting something that is straight up untrue. There are guys in my industry who make careers out of creating stories, citing sources that just aren't true, and passing them off as real and getting attention for them. They know what they're doing. They damn sure know what they're doing. There are politicians who make a lot of money from those lobbying groups.
In some cases, they believe it.
Maybe. Some people may convince themselves of a lie because they tell it enough times. You are absolutely correct. But I think a lot of them know what they're doing. There are politicians who make a hell of a lot of money from lobbyist groups to go into the halls of Congress and get legislation passed that protects a minority from the well-being of the majority, which would be less profitable. And they know what they're doing, but they're willing to sell that metaphorical soul for a buck. And they get it because it's there. That's Roger Goodell's job. I think Roger Goodell is a clown, just like I do with media members who make up stories and cite sources, just like I do with politicians who push unhealthy and frankly bad legislation because they know that the lobbyists are going to hand them a blank check for doing it. When you know what you are doing and you continue to do it and you do it for $1, that's when I think you're a clown. That's when I think you're bad for your profession, for the public. And Roger Goodell's in that group. He knows what he's doing. He knows how he's doing it. He knows why he's doing it. And he continues to do it for about $65 to $68 million per season. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up hour number 1. We got a lot more to get into on the Rob Brown Show. I am Rob Brown. T2's on the board. You're listening to the Rob Brown Show. You're listening to the Fan Upstate. Roger Goodell. 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 All right, stream. I'm going to grab a Gatorade from the room. Don't go anywhere, and I'll answer your questions when I come back. Stay right there. All right, dudes and dudettes, we're back.
Oh.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on, wrapping up hour number 1 here on the broadcast. Rob, T2 filling in for the great one, Lonzo. He'll make his triumphant return next week on the show. Glad to have the Timinator along with us. Let's see. A couple of text and tweets and emails and Facebook chats and comments that have come in so far. Skrilla said, anytime Goodell walks in, they should always play the theme from Benny Hill. I have said the circus theme song is appropriate because Goodell's a clown, right? I had somebody tell me, and honestly, frankly, I used to believe this. I used to say, I don't blame Roger Goodell, right? Like, I'm not upset with Roger Goodell, the guy, because I get it. Roger Goodell is there to be the shield between an upset fan base and the owners. Roger Goodell is there to issue the justification for why owners make decisions that are good for the owners and exactly nobody else. But I've kind of evolved that thought. And I have evolved that thought now to, yeah, but you know what you're doing, right? You know the decisions that are being made that you are defending are bad and actively hurt people. And even if you're not the one making the decision, even if you're not the one executing the decision that hurts people, if you actively defend and excuse the decision that hurts people, then you're part of the process that's hurting people. Roger Goodell's in that group, so he does not get kid glove treatment. There is no more, oh, I just get it because he's doing it for a paycheck. No. When you do something that hurts people, that creates unnecessary drama or malfeasance, you lose that. Marcus says it should be pronounced Goodell because he's a goober. That's a dad joke for you. Yes, it is, Marcus. Yes, it is.
It was a good one, though. It was a good one.
Trey says Goodell gets a contract extension. Hard work pays off. Dreams come true. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do. Machismo. Razor Ramon. I love it. Hudson says, why don't NFL players wear Guardian helmet covers in games? They could design them with team colors and logos to look basically the same, except, safer. Well, there's two things. Number one, Hudson, is that they are still compiling the scientific data to determine how much safer they are, right? And number two is because they look goofy, right? That's it. I cannot find a better answer than because they look goofy. They make the helmets look goofy. You know what I'm talking about? You see them in college preseasons now. They put the helmet on, and then they put this big cap on top. It looks like a giant swimmer's cap with foam pads on top of it. But they look goofy, right? I agree. You could paint them. You could slap a sticker on there, make them look, have the team logo.
Which helmets are these?
They're called Guardian caps. If you want to Google it, you'll see what I'm talking about. They look like big swimmer caps that fit over the top of a football helmet, and they're covered in little pad ribs, I guess. Little padded studs across them. Yeah, they look goofy, right?
Yeah, they look like, I guess, the old style helmets.
And like with anything else.
With a modern twist, maybe? Yeah. I don't know.
Like anything else, presentation matters as much, if not more, than anything else.
They look like robotic brains.
They're goofy looking, right? And if you don't believe that, I want you to tell me the last time that a Fortune 500 CEO gave a presentation to his board not wearing a power suit. A tailored suit will give you an air of relevance and confidence that shorts and a t-shirt don't, right? Listen, those of you that watch the stream, Hudson, those of you that watch the stream, you see Rob Brown rolls up in this B almost every day. almost every day with some sort of sports jersey on.
Yep.
Right? Got the Pensacola Ice Flyers jersey on today. I got a Swamp Rabbits
It's rare that I don't see you in a jersey.
Yep. I've got a Swamp Rabbits jersey. I've got a Rob Brown Show baseball jersey. I've got a Drive jersey with my name on it. I've got 3 Triumph jerseys with my name on it. I've got a Furman polo that I rock consistently. I've got all of it, right? I wear sports gear all the time. It is not because sports gear is the only gear that I own or the only gear that I wear, much to the dismissal of the fiance. I wear sports stuff every day because I'm supposed to be the sports guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm supposed to be the sports guy in this building and in the community. And if I roll up in a hockey jersey with my name emblazoned on it, whether it's true or not, most people are going to go, that guy really likes sports.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
He has adapted the uniform for his day-to-day. He really likes sports. And that's the impression I need you to have if you don't know me. When I roll up into a Drive game with a Drive jersey that has my name across the back, you're going to go, oh, that guy really likes the Drive.
Yeah.
If I show up to a Triumph game with a green Triumph kit with my name across the back, you're going to go, this guy loves this team. If I roll up to a Swamp Rabbits game with a white Swamp Rabbits jersey with my name across the back, you're going to go, this guy loves the team. He's invested in the team. And that's the perception that, as the sports dude, I want out there. That's the perception I want you to have. Presentation matters as much, if not more, than anything else. And whatever they can do to make the uniforms look sleeker, look better, and have the fans fall in love with them, they're going to do it. And those Guardian caps, frankly, just don't look cool. That's all it comes down to.
It looks like dirt bike tire tread.
Yeah, that's exactly
like, just imagine you hitting your head on the ground with that thing. You're just going to dig into the dirt.
That's exactly right. Skrilla says Goodell is the owner's fall guy. They would have him. They would rather have him than the light shining bright on the owners. That's exactly what it comes down to. That's exactly what it comes down to. So, anyway,
this guy looks like a mushroom head from Mario.
Yeah, they look like you look like Toad from Mario Brothers. That's exactly right. They don't look cool, right?
Yeah, they look goofy.
You know what they are? It's like the old joke about pocket protectors, right? Like, if you're a nerd, you rock pocket protectors. Why? Because you got all those pens that lose ink. It keeps your shirt safe from ink stains. But despite the fact that they're functional, they work, they're proven to work, even if the science is not all the way in, the initial glance is that they at least increase safety to some degree. Like a pocket protector, it doesn't matter that they work. It doesn't matter that they're successful. It doesn't matter that they do what they're designed to do. All that matters is that when you wear a pocket protector, people get the impression you're a dork, right? That's it. And that's what these Guardian caps are to the league. That's why they won't go with them yet. But we'll see if that changes. Skrilla said full kit wanker. Yeah. Jerseys only, boys. Jerseys only. Let's take a break. When we come back, we got some spring football that we need to get into. World Baseball Classic final is tonight. Team USA takes on Japan. The U.S. dominated their semifinal. Japan needed a walk-off double bottom 9 to get by Mexico yesterday. And Randy Arozarena is a dude, my guys. We'll talk WBC in the next hour. A lot of college basketball to get into. We got to do a bracket breakdown and more on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
You don't have to send the QC, right?
Correct.
Okay. So that does not go to Kristen.
Correct.
I might have witnessed one of the greatest songs I think was ever written.
Purple Rain.
No, like this is like a new artist, not very big, like a YouTube guy.
Yep.
And it was amazing. I'm gonna show it to you before you leave. Be right back.
I'll be right here with the stream, with the peoples.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of news. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are great.
See if I can do it today.
Even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want
A lot of obstacles. Oh, not
I made it few times.
not a-
Ask Brandon. He was in here for twice, 2 of them.
not a bad effort at all, young man.
ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
See, I think that should be our next tiebreaker on Upstate Pulse for the wrestling thing.
Little Tykes basketball shootout.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
It's my strength. Rolling dice is not my strength.
I'm here for it. Rolling dice.
Dice hate me, man.
Sometimes they hate everybody, buddy. Welcome to
They have a
D&D.
personal vendetta against me.
Welcome to D&D.
I know. So last week I had to face the Nerf ball twice.
Ooh, woof.
Twice.
Woof.
Because I lost the dice roll and that little pop dice thing he had.
Oh, the trouble game?
Yeah.
Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business
I vote you propose that. Lil Tyke shootout for the next
I'm going to.
Upstate Pulse tiebreaker.
I'm going to on the next tiebreaker. Oh my god, dude! We tried the ranch ice cream.
Yeah, was it awful?
Oh my god.
I told Lonzo it was gonna be.
It was terrible.
He's like, you eat ranch? I'm like, yeah, but I don't eat it by the spoonful out of the bucket, my guy.
Yeah, dude. Like you eat it with wings, fries,
Yeah.
salad.
I don't know who or why anybody would have been surprised by
The
that.
same people that thought that hot sauce Mountain Dew would be a good idea. That stuff. would be good.
No, I'm good. Hour numero dos of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is wonderful to be with you once again. I am Rob Brown, T2, the Timinator, filling in for the great one, Lonzo, today. So happy to have you all along for the ride. It is a busy sports day. We have had a lot going on so far. Talked a little bit about Roger Goodell in the last segment. Also talked a lot about fat guys, me, and T2.
You're not fat.
I'm just big boned.
That's right.
T2 told me something during the break. If you don't listen, now you do. on Saturday nights from 7 to 9 on our sister station, WORD, is a little show called the Upstate Pulse, hosted by the great one Lonzo. It is the best description I've been able to come up with so far. It is a nerd pop culture show.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's
Best I can
fun.
give it. And they do some interesting stuff on that show. T2 told me that last Saturday,
Which you can find. You can actually look it up on the stream.
yep,
Or on Facebook.
go to the Fan Upstate, or go to the Upstate Pulse's Facebook page.
That's right.
T2 told me that this past Saturday they tried ranch flavored ice cream.
It was gross. Just the sound of ranch flavored ice cream now is just makes me gag.
Lonzo last week brought this up and asked me if I'd be willing to eat it. And my answer was, much like with everything else, if it gives me content, sure. Just for funsies at the house, no. Now,
Yeah, I don't think I would have done that at home. No.
Rob Brown has waxed his leg hair live on the air before.
What? Is there video of this?
There is. It's
Yes.
from Bet for the Cycle, which is our Saturday baseball gambling show, which, by the way, I can now officially tell you guys, will not only return for this year's Major League Baseball season, with its original cast of yours truly, Rob Brown, Cody Decker, former MLB player turned unprofessional professional athlete, and everybody's favorite hating-ass Mario. But I can also tell you that not only will Bet for the Cycle return every Saturday during MLB season with the original cast and crew of Rob Brown, Cody Decker, and hating-ass Mario, but I have been informed, as of a phone call yesterday, that this year it will run all the way through the World Series. Last year, they took us off the air, 2 weeks before the playoffs began, to flip to a football format. This year, I have been told by the bigwigs at the BetQL network that Bet for the Cycle will run all the way through the World Series this year. You are welcome, America. Your Saturdays just got better. Anyway, on that show, myself, Cody Decker, and hating-ass Mario, every week made a personal bet against each other, right? I bet so-and-so will get a total of 3.5 bags. I bet so-and-so pitcher will go, over 6 1/3 innings pitched or whatever. And instead of betting money, we bet punishments. For instance, hating-ass Mario had to put on the makeup of the Crow, the Dylan Lee movie, and go eat at Indianapolis's nicest steakhouse, dressed as the Crow. I had to eat a heaping spoonful of Vegemite out of a jar. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen,
Vegemite.
if you've never had Vegemite,
Sounds like a bug killer.
dude, I'm not entirely sure. It's not a person killer. All right. Vegemite tastes what I imagine. If you could take pure, unbridled, uncontaminated hatred and condense it into a jelly, that's Vegemite. It was awful. Cody Decker, who has the body hair of a small woodland creature, had to get 2 strips of hair waxed off of his chest on the air. We put each other through hell for your entertainment. I am down to clown if it gives us content that makes y'all like us.
Same here.
Now, I told Zoe I would try it on the air for the sake of content, but there's no point in my life at all, ever, that I would just eat ranch-flavored ice cream. All right? Lonzo said, well, you eat ranch. Right, on other things. I don't just take a spoon to a bowl full of Hidden Valley. All right? It's not my bag. That's gross. T2, 10 words or less. Ranch ice cream description.
I mean, I could do it in one. Disgusting. It was
Did it just taste
utterly
like ranch?
disgusting. Yeah, it tastes like cold vanilla ranch. like that vanilla sweet with that ranch, like it's making me gag right now. Ew. One of the worst things I've ever put in my mouth. Like just disgusting.
I got negative interest. All right? I've got negative interest.
Don't try this at home, kids. Like for real. Like it was bad.
Less than negative interest. I don't understand. All right. Listen, I said earlier.
I mean, ice cream and ranch should not be uttered in the same sentence, much less be in the same box.
Let me say this. I told you guys earlier. Piece of advice that I got from both Mr. Rogers and a therapist at one point in my life.
Mr. Rogers.
If you wouldn't talk, like if one of your friends came to you and had a problem that you're having in your life, and you wouldn't call them a pathetic fat slob, why would you say it to yourself, right? Which makes perfect sense. I'm going to go ahead and say this. If there is any point of you that enjoys ranch-flavored ice cream, you need to hate yourself more.
Yeah.
All right? Not less. You need to hate yourself more. Just no.
Well, I mean, like, I wouldn't say that, like, because everybody's entitled to their own way they like to eat things. I mean, that's fine. But, ew, like, I just don't understand you at this point.
Listen, there's an exception to every rule. Okay? There's an exception to every rule.
Yeah.
Rob Brown, for instance, watches something to the tune of 6 to 8 hours of professional wrestling a week. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the right to judge what anybody else wants to watch on TV. The fiance right now is really big into 1,000-Pound Sisters. Now, that show makes me go, no. Not because they're large, just why is this a show, right? I'm not like, I don't judge these women for being what they are, but like, I'm not entertained by it. She, on the other hand, loves it, obsessed with it.
Yeah, Kia's into Married at First Sight right now.
I watch 4 to 6 hours of professional wrestling minimum a week. I'm in no position to judge, right?
Right.
I say all the time.
I watch a whole bunch of anime.
with the exception of like Nazis. Be whatever you want to be. I have friends from all over the political spectrum. I have friends from all over the gender spectrum. I have friends from all over the sexuality spectrum. I'm all on board for you to be who you want to be, and I will still absolutely be friends with you, except furries. I've never just don't get it. All right, it's just a bridge
furries,
too far.
Man.
It's just a bridge too far.
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen,
they pee in.
I'm from Southeast Louisiana. All right. The things that I not only have eaten, but continue to eat as delicacies will make some of you hurl. I get it. All right. I don't judge what people eat or what they like to eat. I don't. I never have. I never will. Eat what you want to eat. Except ranch flavored ice cream. Screw you if you enjoy that. There's something wrong with you. Right? You need help. You need a therapist.
When you said that, I immediately thought of a video of I saw a woman literally eating tarantulas, live tarantulas.
Nope.
Like it was crazy. So I don't know about that last statement, man.
All right. Let me get a couple of texts. Texter says T2 is the man. All right. Love
Thank
it.
you.
I agree. Texter says stick some buffalo wings in the ranch ice cream and you're good to go. No, I will just stick it in regular ranch. Like a person. All right.
Yeah.
I'm not dipping my perfectly good hot wings into cold ice cream.
No, yeah. That makes zero sense.
Texter says, I watched a female drink an entire bottle of Hidden Valley and then proceed to projectile long-range white vomit into the bushes. Nasty. Go Gamecocks.
Okay,
nice
but let's I want to make this kind of clear because it's ice cream and Hidden Valley Ranch. It's not. It does taste. I'll tell you what it tastes like. It tastes like your kid just spilled ranch over your vanilla ice cream and you ate it anyway.
No,
that's what it tastes like.
No, that's worse. I'm out. Texture says, "Hey, buddy, are you calling the Burns games this year?" That's the goal. I believe that I am. We have not officially worked it out yet, but they told me they want me back, and I want to be back. So fingers crossed, yeah, I'll be calling some more football this year. All right, let's get some sports in here, ladies and gentlemen. I want to start with this. This was a story that came down the pipe last week, and I wanted to get to it, but went out on vacation before I got a chance to. The NFL announced early last week that Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver Calvin Ridley has been fully reinstated 1 year after he was indefinitely suspended for violating the league's gambling policy. Immediately eligible to participate in all team activities, the wideout took some time to address the past before beginning his new chapter, according to Callie Lawson Freeman, writing on behalf of Yahoo Sports. Ridley said in an open letter via the Players Tribune, quote, "I bleeped up. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. In 2021, I made the worst mistake of my life by gambling on football," end quote. There were obviously plenty of scrutiny. There were jokes from fans. Roger Goodell issued a condemning statement of that decision, and Calvin Ridley says he takes full responsibility for what he did. He understands why it was wrong. He understands why he couldn't do it, and he never fought back against that suspension because of that. The letter that Ridley wrote detailed his experience playing the full 2020 season for the Falcons on an injured foot. He says that an MRI showed he had a bone bruise, which convinced him to continue taking Toradol shots from a team doctor, despite his suspicions that the injury was more severe. He would finish that season with 1,300 yards and 9 touchdowns. However, the Falcons finished the season 4-12. They went with a complete overhaul, new staff, new head coach, new trainers. Ridley said the new trainer sent him to a specialist who quickly diagnosed him with a broken foot. After that, he had surgery 2 months before the 2021 season and felt pressure to begin to take painkillers to complete workouts. He wrote that he often went home in pain, attempting to be there for his family. He pushed himself to play week 1, and when he came home, he saw that their house had been robbed. A prosecutor later announced Ridley was amongst a group of celebrities in Atlanta whose homes were targeted by a local gang. He said that he and his wife were traumatized. His wife couldn't sleep at night. He said he also felt, quote, the weight of the world on his chest, end quote. It turned out to be anxiety. It turned out to be clinically diagnosed anxiety. According to the letter, Ridley was not wholly supported by the Falcons, and that's why he felt the need to step away. He spent time speaking with a therapist while he was away. He has multiple letters he wrote between him and his therapist where he described himself as isolated and overwhelmed. And in the letter, he said, quote, "In a dark moment, I made a stupid mistake. I wasn't trying to cheat the game. I was still just so depressed and angry, and the days were long, so I was looking for anything to take my mind off of things and make the day go by faster. One day, I saw a TV commercial for a betting app, and for whatever reason, I downloaded it on my phone. I deposited like $1,500 total, literally just something to do. I was going to bet like $200 on some NBA games that night, but then I just added a bunch more games to a parlay. I put the Falcons in on it. I was just doing it to root on my boys, basically. I didn't have any inside information. I wasn't even talking to anybody on the team at the time. I was totally off the grid," end quote. You know what I appreciate about Calvin Ridley here? Calvin Ridley has just come out and said, look, I made a mistake. I broke the rules. I blew it. I know what I did was wrong. Even though I did not do it with any malintent, I recognize now that what I did was against the rules and was wrong. I take the responsibility for that. He mentions that he was dealing with at least one mental illness at the time, as well as the fact that a football team pushed him, according to his side of the story, but a football team pushed him to play through an injury that needed more serious treatment than they were willing to give it or even find out if it was required, until a new training staff came in and said, oh, dude, you got to get this fixed. You have to take care of this surgically, right? And he decided to walk on that team. I appreciate Calvin Ridley making an apology. I appreciate Calvin Ridley taking responsibility. I appreciate Calvin Ridley putting his head down and going, I screwed the pooch here, and I paid the price, and now I want to get back and make good on it. This is it, man. Ain't nobody perfect. Everybody's going to make mistakes. It happens to everybody. What do we tell our kids when we're raising them? You're going to make a mistake. You're going to make a bad decision. You're going to make stupid decisions. The only thing that you can and should do when you make a stupid decision is own it, accept the consequences, and do better next time. Calvin Ridley just did that. And I got the utmost respect for this guy. Took his suspension, rolled with it, came back, acknowledged what he did was wrong, put out there that he was fighting with mental illness so that nobody feels like that is going to be left out, but also doesn't use it as a reason. I love it. Good on Calvin Ridley. Cannot wait to see him and TL16 get on the same page this year. Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute from right this second, Carolina Panthers pulled the trigger on moving up to number 1. They could have gotten a quarterback moving up to number 4, and the assumption would be that they would have got a quarterback at a better value, even if it was a more project-oriented quarterback. So what made the Carolina Panthers decide to jump all the way up to number 1 and cost themselves DJ Moore in the process? We got some insight into that from Scott Fitterer yesterday. We'll talk about that when we come back on the Rob Brown Show with the Fan Upstate. All right, dudes, we are back. Thanks for hanging out.
Moving on.
You can afford at myaffordablebraces.com.
Come join Mark Ryan live over at Hall of Fame
All right.
this Thursday and Friday from 3 to 7 p.m. for the Hoops and All
I went to Kevin, right? Kevin Thomas?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, it's sent.
So gather your friends and come early to secure your spot for the ultimate college basketball experience. Come support the Greenville County Alzheimer's Association in honor of the late Coach Louis Gold.
Our communities are filled with wonderful people who make living here great. At Home Trust Bank, we're proud of that. And that's why we focus on helping homeowners prepare for what's next. Our local mortgage bankers have the experience you need and exceptional personal service you'll appreciate. Home Trust Bank is ready to help make a house your home. When it's time to buy, visit your local Home Trust branch or go to htb.com/mortgage.
Here are the rules. No staring at your phone, no rolling in 2 hours late, no sweatpants, no jeans, and no shorts.
For complete rules on contests, go to thefanupstate.com/rules.
Sponsored by Jeff Martin Auctioneers. Jeff Martin Auctioneers is hosting the Spring East Coast Public Auction in Pelzer on March 23rd, featuring construction and farm equipment, trucks, trailers, and more. Bid your way live on-site or online. JeffMartinAuctioneers.com. Experience the difference. License 4283.
Let's get in the game on the Rob Brown Show.
Only on the Fan.
The Rob Brown Show continues. This is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob, T2, the Timinator, filling in for Lonzo today.
What up?
844-FANFONE. That's 844-326-3663. I would like to have a conversation here about the NBA, and I am going to straight up tell you, because Rob Brown is an open book, that there's part of it's that make me a wee bit uncomfortable. But I find it very interesting nonetheless. The NBA's MVP award is at a fever pitch in terms of discussion, right? It is an award that is chosen annually by a panel of media members. It has been that way since the 80 to 81 season. No race has been decided by fewer than 39 first-place votes since Steve Nash edged out Shaquille O'Neal in the 04-05 season. Shaquille O'Neal never let that one go. In fact, he still talks about it to this day. However, even with that being the tightest race, I think this year is going to change that. I think this year is going to be a very close vote. The discussion right now is out of control. A couple of former players turned ESPN analysts got into it about a week and a half ago when Kendrick Perkins and JJ Redick decided to take their debate very public. Now, granted, they do it because that's their job. But they had a very lively debate about whether or not Nikola Jokic is stat padding. Jokic is averaging 25, 12, and 10 a game. 25 points, 12 boards, 10 assists per game. It went back and forth. Jokic, in the middle of that discussion, had another game where he went triple-double on 11 shots and 28 minutes of a blowout win. The Nuggets are 24-0 when Nikola Jokic has a triple-double. That's an insane number. Now, Perkins is an MVP voting panel member. He joined last season. He voted for Joel Embiid, and he is making the case that Joel Embiid should be that dude once again. But here is the interesting part of this discussion. Larry Bird got into this discussion. Now, Larry Bird got into this discussion in 2004. There was an ESPN special that featured himself, Magic Johnson, and rookies LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony. So 2 old guard, 2 new guard members at the time of the NBA. Larry Bird said the majority of the fans are white America. And if you just had a couple of white guys in there, you might get them a little bit excited. Now, that comment has been recirculating because Kendrick Perkins made the claim that race has something to do with the MVP award. That when MVP voters see a white dude in the mix for the NBA MVP, they inherently flock to him, as they did with Steve Nash back in that 04-05 season. JJ Redick fired back, said, yo, hold up, wait a minute. The panel is very diverse. It is not a panel that would lean one way or the other, right? And the question mark became, is Nikola Jokic getting the nod, as a lot of us suspect he will, though it is not a guarantee? If Nikola Jokic wins this award, he would become, if I recall correctly, just the 4th guy in history to win 3 consecutive MVP awards. The others were Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, and the aforementioned Larry Bird. Bird did it the most recently back in 84, 85, and 86. Now, there have been some MVP award years that have felt indisputable. There was no one else that could have won it. In 2016, it was Steph Curry. There was no doubt. In 2013, it was LeBron James. No doubt. He was not unanimous, but he was overwhelming. And Giannis Antetokounmpo's first MVP in 2019, there was nobody else that could have done it at that point. Now, there are 2 arguments to this that I find interesting. The first is the concept that nobody likes Nikola Jokic because his game isn't exactly the most exciting in the world, right? He's not a dude that gives you a lot of flash, not a guy that gives you a lot of razzle-dazzle. It's pretty much head down, get to the rack, knock down a big 3 every now and then to remind you got to give some space there, and dish a few assists from the 5 spot when defenses collapse on it. It ain't the most razzle-dazzle game of all time. But Nikola Jokic averages a triple-double. Do you understand what we would be talking about if Ja Morant averaged a triple-double? If Kevin Durant averaged a triple-double? If Giannis Antetokounmpo averaged a triple-double? We would be waiting to put the crown on them as soon as LeBron leaves the throne. Nikola Jokic is doing it, but he's doing it in a way that, frankly, is, unless you're a big Nuggets guy or you're a fan of old school big man basketball, is frankly kind of boring. Now, I was a big man. I love big man basketball. Give it to the dude in the paint. Let him go to work, either attacking the rack or collapsing defenses and dissing back to the outside of the guys who can make things work with the basketball. Nikola Jokic's last 2 MVPs, I would love anybody to dispute the validity, right? I would love anybody to tell me why it is that Nikola Jokic didn't deserve them. This year, you can make the argument last year that Joel Embiid led the league in scoring as a big man. But scoring is one element of the game. Nikola Jokic is an excellent rim protector. He is an excellent passer of the basketball from the inside. He can score from anywhere on the floor. Nikola Jokic is the most well-rounded basketball player, especially at the 5 spot, that we've seen in a very long time. But there is absolutely a discussion going on, absolutely a question going on about whether or not Nikola Jokic gets his mix because he's a slow white guy and because voters love to see in a league where white guys are the minority, love to see that succeed. Love to see a white guy get the props in the league. I would like to think the answer is no, right? I would like to think the answer is no. I would like to think that there's not a situation where people are voting for Nikolai just because he's white. I don't know what else to tell you other than Nikolai Jokic is the best player on a Nuggets team that is currently sitting first in the West, 3.5 games clear of the Grizzlies, who in fairness have been without Ja Morant for what, 5 games now? 4 games now? He is the best player on that team. He is averaging a triple-double. The Nuggets are 30-6 at home. They are 518-18 on the road. I would like to think that Nikolai Jokic isn't getting the overwhelming majority. I cannot tell you for a fact that there aren't a couple of voters that are or are not giving their votes to Nikolai Jokic because, hey, the white guy's doing it in the black guys league, right? I would like to think that Nikolai Jokic is a dude that is averaging a triple-double, that is taking a team, if we are being honest with each other, that doesn't really have the depth of talent that a lot of other teams do. They got some good players. Jamal Murray's a very good player. Caldwell Pope has some great games. Michael Porter Jr. is going to pop up on the top 10 every now and then. But I've got to imagine that Nikolai Jokic is getting the attention he's gotten not because of being a white guy. I've got to assume it's because the dude's putting up triple doubles as an average, man. Like as an average. Can we not talk about the fact that that is insane? The Nuggets are 48-24. The 76ers are 48-23. All right. Over in the West, the 76ers would currently be sitting at, well, frankly, tied with the Nuggets for first. All right. Actually, I think they'd be a half game up for first. The East is better this year. The Bucks behind Giannis are very good. The Celtics behind the dynamic duo are very good. The Sixers are good. Hell, the Cavaliers are 45-28. The Knicks are 8 games above 500. The East is good. The West isn't bad. You got 3 teams with 40 wins or more. Then there's a pretty hefty drop-off. And then from the Suns at 4th all the way down to the Pelicans in 12th, you've got a difference in 4 games total, right? So it's a bigger quagmire, but the elite teams are predominantly over in the East. So the Sixers get a little credit there. But if I took Joel Embiid off of the 76ers and I took Nikolai Jokic off of the Denver Nuggets, because it is the most valuable player award, right? The individual player who makes his team better. If I took both those guys off their squads, where do the Nuggets go? Where do the Sixers go? I frankly think the Nuggets go tumbling down the list, right? Like the Nuggets are a play-in spot competitor. If I took Joel Embiid off the Sixers are probably still the 8th seed in the East, maybe the 7. I could be wrong. Perhaps there is an overwhelming, a surprising number of voters voting for Joel Embiid because he's a white guy. But I'd like to think that Joel Embiid is getting MVP votes for the 3rd year in a row because Nikolai Jokic, sorry, not Joel Embiid, Nikolai Jokic is getting MVP votes and is, in my opinion, is the most important player on his team, you know, the most valuable player, and that's why he's getting the votes. Again, I could be wrong, but I've got no reason to think so. I would say that this argument holds water if Nikola Jokic was a guy doing 9, 8, and 7, right? 10, 7, and 5, but still was leading the MVP race. Then I'd go, okay, maybe there's something to that. But the numbers he's putting up are incredible. Texas said Russ Westbrook had 4 seasons averaging a triple-double. He has 1 MVP. Right. But again, go back and look. Has there been a point in Russ's career where Russ was the guy? Was there a point in Russ's career that Russ, if you removed Russ from the lineup, the team went tumbling down? I don't think so. I do think for a lot of play, if the MVP matters to you, for a lot of players, fighting their way or finding themselves on super teams kind of damages you, right? Like Anthony Davis on a lot of teams, if he's healthy, is the best player in that city. But when he gets paired with LeBron, the argument loses a lot of water. Who's the guy in Denver right now that if I take Nikola Jokic away, we can trust picks up the slack? Jamal Murray? I love Jamal Murray. When the guy's on, he's a great player. But can Jamal do it without Nikolai? No. Can Nikolai do it without Jamal? Yes. Has, will, and continues to. I don't think Nikola Jokic is getting votes because he's a white guy. I think Nikola Jokic is getting votes because the dude averages a triple-double. As a 5, by the way, let's not forget with the Westbrook conversation, Russell Westbrook's a shooting guard. Shooting's in his title. Nikola Jokic is a 5. The last guy to go a season averaging, the last handful of guys to go an average of a triple-double over a season, they're all guards and a couple of power forwards. There's no big men that do that and carry the weight of the team on their back. That's Nikola Jokic. Thoughts, agreements, disagreements, hit me up, 844-FAN-PHONE, 844-326-3663. Text us on the Preferred Home Services text line, 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, and we'll read them on the air. We're back after this on The Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
41. C in
All right.
Your foundation experts. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage? Changing your oil with full synthetic oil at Mobil 1 can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP extended life oil filter for only $38.99. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com. Restrictions apply.
I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your
Crowd
phone
look
dashboard.
crazy
Visit
levels.
Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Progressive presents Adjusting to the Suburbs.
I never thought about space in my cramped apartment, but in this house, all I see is empty space. Sofa and ottoman look like tiny islands in a sea of hardwood floors. I could get 2 ottomans in the living room, but then I need another sofa. I could tell people I'm into minimalism.
Anyway, when you save with Progressive by bundling your home and auto, that's the easy part of adjusting to the suburbs. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company coverage provided in service by affiliates and third-party insurers.
At the United States Postal Service, we're reinventing our network to help keep your business moving. With new shipping options to deliver better value, greater flexibility to conveniently reach your customers, more confident shipping with new informed delivery features, and new electric vehicles for a cleaner, brighter future. Fast, reliable, perfectly orchestrated. The United States Postal Service, delivering for America. Learn more at USPS.com/moving forward.
Listen on the Odyssey app. Search the Fan Upstate.
Wrapping up the second hour of the Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate, ladies and gentlemen. Real quick note as we are now, a week and some change away from Major League Baseball's opening day. For those of you that are Atlanta Braves fan, a bit of surprising news yesterday as Vaughn Grissom and Rook Braden Shumick have been optioned to AAA Gwinnett, which leaves, as of right now, the likely replacement for Dansby Swanson at shortstop to be Orlando Arcia. Swanson was let go by the Braves because, I think, of the contract he wanted. Dansby's a very good player, but dude was looking for a deal north of $170. And he got it. 7-year deal, $177 million with the Chicago Cubs. That was an amount the Braves were not willing to invest in a guy who went on some cold streaks over the past couple of years, despite the success that Dansby had and the goodwill he had built with the Braves fandom. It was thought that Vaughn Grissom was going to be the starting shortstop on open day. Grissom had a very good spring. His last day, the Braves won 6-5 over the Rays. Grissom went 3 for 4 in the game with an RBI and a run scored. And in 12 spring games was batting .371. Very good spring for Vaughn Grissom. Had some solid defensive efforts as well. But it looks like Orlando Arcia is going to be the guy. The reason that is interesting, last year, Orlando Arcia played a grand total of 1 game at shortstop for the Braves. He made 43 starts at second base in 67 overall games, batted .244, and has not been a primary shortstop since he started 59 games in the pandemic 2020 season for the Brewers, who then traded him to the Braves the following April. Vaughn Grissom is 22 years old, made his big league debut last season, hit .291 with 5 dingers and 18 ribbies and 41 for the Braves, started 39 games at second and just 1 at shortstop as well. Arcia and Grissom were needed at second base last season because of the fact that Ozzie Albies missed much of the season with a broken foot and then a broken finger. This move is frankly a bit surprising to me. I'm a little bit taken aback by it because I think, and frankly, I think Braves fans thought that Vaughn Grissom was going to be the shortstop. Now, we did get a little bit of news from Peter Gammons that last week, Braves coaches were concerned Vaughn Grissom had an issue in the hernia area. We do know there was a point in time where Grissom sat out 5 consecutive days, 5 consecutive games. We never really got an answer why. And this might be it. This might be it. I don't know if this is the primary reason that Grissom got sent down, but it certainly looks like it could be, right? Certainly looks like it could be. Go down to AAA, get some rehab. You don't have to travel that much. You don't have to spend that much time on the road. You can really start to dig into that rehab because replacing Dansby Swanson's numbers when Dansby's was on the heaters he went on is going to be critical if the Braves are going to get back. We told you a couple of weeks ago that the NL over-under totals had the Braves and the Mets within a game of each other. Now, we did find out that Edwin Diaz, the outstanding closer and one of the biggest and most important strengths of this Mets team, is going to miss the season. In a celebration in a World Baseball Classic victory a couple of days ago, Diaz blew out his knee and has to have season-ending surgery before the game even starts. That is going to ding up the Mets win total a little bit. That is also going to, I think, pending further injury, likely make the Braves the favorite to win the NL East. But at the same time, Vaughn Grissom dealing with a potential hernia issue, being sent to Gwinnett, did not stop him to play all 9 innings yesterday. He was the only player on either team to play all 9 innings yesterday. So I kind of, like, on one hand, it's weird. I kind of want to believe it is a hernia issue because I kind of want to believe that that's the only justified reason that Vaughn Grissom would be optioned out and sent to AAA. But I'm having a hard time believing that's the case when he played 9 yesterday. Like, I can't believe he played 9 with a jacked up hernia. And by the way, Brian Snitker was asked and told that it was not an injury thing, that they just wanted to, during that 5-day stretch, get a look at some of the other options at shortstop to make the decision in case they had to adjust the lineups a little bit. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Now, here's the good news. Good news is Alex Anthopoulos has been the GM of the decade for Atlanta. He manufactured the World Series victory a couple of years ago. He made some moves last year that got the Braves very, very close before they eventually lost to your Philadelphia Phillies, who would go on to represent the National League in the World Series. So he's got a little bit of leeway, got a bit of a grace period, but I got no idea why it is that this move got made. Coming up in the next hour of the radio broadcast, did Nick Saban just throw some shade at his own school's basketball coach? Remember Nate Oates made a comment a couple of days that had everybody up in a tizzy? Nick Saban said something yesterday in a presser that got some eyebrows raised. We're going to talk about that here in just a few minutes from right now. Also coming up in the next hour of the show, why did the Panthers pull the trigger on jumping all the way to number 1 when there were quarterbacks they liked available at 2, 3, and 4? Scott Fitterer gave us an insight into that answer. I'll tell you what it was when we come back. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate.
Oh.
Just say play 97 The Fan Upstate on your HD radio at WFBC HD3. Just one more time. And on your computer at
Upstate.com.
It's time for a March Madness update. For the 6th straight year, the men's tournament defending champions failed to advance to the Sweet 16. This year, that was canceled.
What's my password? I can't remember what it is. Crap. I think it's this. Nope, that's not it. Let's try this one. There it is.
That nervous feeling when you realize it's tax time again, but you don't know how much it could cost you? Don't wait until the last minute to file.
Yes, it's me.
We'll help you get your maximum refund at our lowest possible price. Our professional services start at just $69. Start your taxes today online at libertytax.com or schedule an in-person appointment with one of our local tax offices. Offer ends April 18th, 2023. Valid at participating locations. Terms and conditions apply. See website or office for details.
All right. Let's go to mail. The hour went by fast, did it not?
Yes, it really did.
All right.
Uses healing agents from your own body, like your blood or bone marrow, highly concentrated and delivered right to the achy joint.
Every time I hear bone marrow, I think about that show, the 300 or the 100.
I don't think I've seen it.
You never seen it? Oh, you would love it, dude. It's pretty good.
The 100.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. It's about like the end of the world happened and
Big fan.
Huh?
I said big fan.
Yeah, the end of the world happened and they all go up to space and live in space
Okay.
on like a space station. And they're waiting for like the nuclear like what is it? Radiation to kind of die down before they go back home. Well, something happens on the ship where they have to chance it or everybody's going to die on the ship, like on the space station. And they send 100 of their criminals down and they have to like survive. It's pretty good.
Really?
Yeah.
I am very interested. You were correct. I'm very interested.
It's really good, dude. It's on Netflix. If you check it out, let me know because it's awesome. Three.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America NA.
Hey guys, this is Keenan Thompson. I have a problem with you. Yes, you. None of y'all told me that Auto Trader has millions of new and used cars that I can shop from home. I thought we were friends. I put smiles on your face, but I'm not smiling. No one told me that with Auto Trader, a dealer can deliver cars to my home or that I could shop by price on Auto Trader. No one. Consider this friendship that you just learned we had officially over. Finally, it's easy. Auto Trader.
No. All right, here we go.
Hey, check this out. You're on official Rob Brown lockdown. This be a win. Yeah. Unfiltered sports talk. Manufactured locally. Lockdown. This is the Rob Brown Show. Yeah. Only on
The Fan Upstate.
Joey B said the Vaughn Grissom thing he said, quote, feels like something that rhymes with nervous Lyme dissimulation. Texture says, Rob, it sounds like you suspect service time manipulation with the handling of Grissom. It's all I can come up with, right? Because if I recall correctly, if Vaughn Grissom is not on the big league roster before June, it adds one more year of control to the Braves over his contract. So it basically lets you lock him in for one more season. So, like, maybe. But it's the only thing I've got, yeah? It's the only thing I've got. I don't know who else, especially when you sent the rookie down with him. I don't know who else you put in that spot. You're going to have Orlando Arcia starting at short. You've got Adrianza behind him. I mean, Vaughn Grissom had a better bat than both those cats last year, even though only played, 49 games. Better year than both those guys, but he gets sent to Gwinnett. I got to think this is just the Braves are banking on being able to stay in the race with the Mets and the Phillies early in the year. Bring Vaughn Grissom in once you get to that year mark where you get the extra year of added control on his contract and you go from there. That's really the only thing I got. So we'll find out. Welcome back to third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. Let's talk Carolina Panther football for just a minute, shall we? The Panthers have been working the last few weeks. It started when they made the trade with the Chicago Bears, sent DJ Moore and 4 top-tier picks to the Bears to get the first overall pick. Then went on a spending spree in free agency. They added Von Bell. They added Hayden Hurst. They added Miles Sanders. They added Adam Thielen. They added Andy Dalton. So Scott Fitterer's phone has been smoking over the past couple of weeks. Fitterer spent some time with the media yesterday and discussed some of the moves. But obviously, the one thing that everybody wants to know is, how did you reach the decision to pull the trigger on and make the move for the number 1 overall pick in the draft with the Bears? Fitterer said that back at the scouting combine in late February, he opened up discussions with the Bears general manager, Ryan Poles. He said that they had a meeting in a hotel room a couple of times. They had a meeting in the lobby of Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis during the combine itself. And Fitterer said that he spoke to other teams within the top 8 picks with the intent of trading up for a quarterback. And here's what it came down to. And I bring this up for 2 reasons. Number 1, to inform you, Carolina fans. And number 2, to tell you that I was right from the beginning. Not in what they should do, but in what would happen based on what their needs were. I told you a number of weeks ago, if the Carolina Panthers are interested in trading up, you might as well go all the way to number 1, because hanging out at 3 or 4, hell, even 2, it was going to cost you a similar amount of capital, and you would not get pick of the litter. So why not spend the extra pick or 2, move all of the way up to number 1, and get the guy you want instead of a guy that you want, or worse, a guy that just happened to be left over. And it looks like Scott Fitterer understood that, knew that, and went in that direction. He said that the price to trade up was going to be expensive no matter where the Panthers landed. Now, let's start with this. 5 or lower was unacceptable. In fact, I would dare say pointless. Why? You might have got a quarterback at 5, right? But if you got a quarterback at 5, you're getting Will Levis. At this point, it is all but certain that Stroud or Young go 1, Stroud or Young go 2, Richardson goes 3, Levis goes 4. That has pretty much become the consensus via all the smoke about where these quarterbacks would land. Stroud or Young goes first, the other one goes second, Richardson goes third, Levis goes fourth. Which means that even if Arizona stays put and drafts at 3, if Carolina went to 5, traded with Seattle, they'd have got Will Levis. That's not to say Will Levis won't work out in the NFL, but Will Levis is every bit the construction job that Anthony Richardson is, with a lower ceiling in terms of raw physical talent. Moving up to 4 might have got you Anthony Richardson, but you're still taking a risk. Because if the Cardinals decide on draft day that somebody out there was desperate enough for a QB that they were going to give up a haul, and this is the trap I was worried the Panthers were going to fall into. It gets to be draft day. A team is like, we got to find a QB in this draft. It is not an option. It's a mandate, right? So it gets to be draft day, and somebody goes, we know that the Bears accepted a blank, 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 and blank pick to move back from 1. We want the same deal to get you to 3 to get a QB. Somebody might get desperate enough to get there, right? Might get desperate enough. And if Carolina went to 4, and again, this is all assuming the teams would be willing to make the move. I don't think Indy was coming off the 4 spot. Indy has to have a quarterback. We know that. That's their move. They're going quarterback 2. So the only way that might have worked is if Indy traded up to 1 with Chicago, and then Chicago traded from 4 back to 9. It was still going to cost you an arm and a leg. And then if you're lucky, you get Richardson. And there's still a very good, I would say, probability that you end up with Levis there. Trading up to 3 with Arizona. Because of the fact that Arizona does not need a quarterback, right? That spot's fluid for them. And considering the fact that if Arizona traded back from 3, they're basically filling that spot with the team who does have to go quarterback, pushing everybody Arizona might have wanted a little bit further back. See, Arizona has a luxury here because while they love to add some draft capital, they've also got 2 of arguably the best defensive players to come into the league in a while in Will Anderson Jr. out of Alabama and Jalen Carter out of Georgia. Assuming Jalen Carter is going to be there. There's been some more news in the Jalen Carter front, and there's starting to be a little momentum behind the discussion that Jalen Carter has dropped real far down some NFL teams' draft boards. But there's some very good defensive players available at 3. The Cardinals could have charged a premium and said, look, we can get Will Anderson, Jalen Carter, if he's still on their board, Devin Witherspoon. We can get some of the better defensive players on field that have come into the draft in the last couple of years. So if you want 3 to get quarterback, number 1, you got to be inside the top 10. And number 2, you're going to have to pay a premium. Houston was not coming off of number 2. They also need a quarterback. They're in line for either Stroud or Young, whoever the number 1 overall pick, whoever it might be, did not take. And then you had the Bears at 1. So 1, the Bears, 3, the Cardinals, 4, the Bears if the Colts made a move. Those were the options on the table. One of them completely metaphorical. Actually, I take that back. 2 of them completely metaphorical. In the Bears at 4 and the Cardinals at 3. Even if those things lined up for you, right? Because keep in mind, moving to 4 or moving to number 3 would have required hypothetical moves from other teams to happen. Either the Colts go into 1 or the Cardinals deciding on draft day that they would accept a trade for somebody to get into 3. The one thing, all of those moves, hypothetical or real, in trading up to 1 with Chicago, which was the only real one on the table right now, all of those things have one thing in common. What was it? Incredibly pricey. It was going to be pricey. So this is one of those things where it's like, well, if you're going to spend that much, you might as well go all the way to the top for the premium article, right? You might as well go to, if you go to buy yourself, looking out for you, Lonzo. If you go to buy yourself a new pair of kicks, right? I as a matter of fact, I did this yesterday. Got off of work yesterday, went home, finished up the work, uploaded some videos to our Fan Upstate YouTube channel, which you can go check out by searching and subscribing to the Fan Upstate on YouTube. I'll be posting videos most every day from the show. When I got off the air and I got done with my work, I decided I was going to go get myself a good pair of jogging shoes, right? I've been trying to get back in shape. I've been trying to do a little walking, jogging, and I'm going to be straight up and for real with you. The biggest problem for me has been that when I am done, my feet ache. Not a little bit, a lot. So instead of just heading down to the local whatever shoe store and picking up a new pair of whatevers, I decided, you know what? I'm just going to go to the running shoe store where they sell the shoes designed for this. And I paid the extra money to get my feet measured and to get the pressure, whatever they call it, the readings to find out where I carry my weight on my foot.
Oh, you got them.
Oh, I went all out.
Yeah.
They measured when I'm standing still, how much weight goes on what part of my foot. When I'm walking, where does the weight transfer from what part of my foot to the next? I went through all of that so that when it was time to buy some running shoes, they were able to go, okay, listen, when you stand, I learned this yesterday, when I stand, the majority of the weight for me is on the heel, right? I kind of have a natural lean back because when I stand flat, my feet roll to the inside. So to stop that from happening, I naturally lean back on my heels. It was creating I was carrying all of my weight just on the heels of my feet. And that's why the back of my feet hurts so much, right? So also when I walk, I walk on the inside of my foot. And so it's rolling all the way to the inside, which is why the inside of my legs hurt so much when I'm done walking around. So they went and they said, all right, we're going to craft this heel. And then we're going to put some support on the inside of your foot so that when you're standing, the weight is evenly distributed, blah, 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 blah. They figured out how my feet work. And they basically put together a custom pair of sneaks for me to walk in. I went last night, felt amazing. Got done. I did like 2.5 miles last night, jogging and walking because my feet weren't killing me. The point was this. When I went into the store, I usually buy sneaks that are $80 to $110 a pair, right? I went in yesterday, and these shoes ended up being like $180, right? And I would never pay that. I've never owned a pair of $180 sneakers in my life.
I have.
But when I put these on and I started walking around, and I can't even tell, just on the first walk around, I was like, this is legitimately life-changing for me.
Right.
I went, you know what? I could buy a $100 pair of shoes that look cool, or I could spend the extra $100 and have shoes that genuinely increase my life, make me feel better. Right?
Or you can have both.
Yeah, and I'm still going to get a pair of Jordans next. But you get the point, right? I got these for when I'm putting heavy stress on my feet. I got these. And I still have my Chucks for when I'm dressing down, whatever.
Well, you should be able to get like the soles, or not the soles, like what goes inside of the shoe?
Insoles or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you can get those made.
Sure. But the point is you spend the money to increase your quality of life,
correct,
even when it's something dumb, right? So the point here for the Cats was the way what I'm trying to say here is the Panthers could have theoretically gone to 4th or 3rd, right? But it would have cost them almost as much, right? Now, it's one thing if I was going to go buy a pair of $40 whatever slip-ons at the Wally World, because if I had $40 in mind, going from 40 to 180 is kind of a huge jump, right? But going from 110 to 180 is not a big jump. And that's what the Panthers did. They were looking for the pair of $110, $120 sneakers. They were going to make the life a little bit better, right?
Yeah.
A little bit more comfort than the $40 slip-ons, and you're going to get the style that goes along with that expensive of a shoe. But then they decided, you know what? We got this shoe. We got this shoe that comforts us. We got this shoe that provides extra support. It's going to cost us all of $60 more. So why not spend a little bit extra to get the shoe that we are 90% sure is going to make our lives better, as opposed to the shoe that we are going to make sure is 50% likely to make my life better, right? Because Richardson and Levis have a lot of upside. Both of them do. Levis is the prototype in terms of physical build. Richardson has a remarkable amount of physical gifts that could translate into him being an all-time quarterback, but it's a lottery. It's a big risk. Stroud and Young, on the other hand, may not have as many physical gifts as Anthony Richardson does, but they have put on the field what they can do. CJ Stroud goes what? 6'3", 225. So he's a stout dude. He's got excellent ball speed. He's got excellent ball precision, right? You know what he can do. You have put on the shoe, walked around the store, and it made you feel real good. So why not spend the extra $40 to get there, or $60 or whatever it is, to get the shoes you know can do this for you, with the knowledge that, hey, maybe those Jordans would long-term be the better solution for you.
Yeah, maybe.
But right now, you know what these can do and what they are. Spend the extra money. And according to Fitterer, they basically went in, tried on the shoe, realized it was going to be an extra $60 to get the real good shoes as opposed to the pretty good but stylish shoes, and jump up. And it's the right freaking call.
See,
it's the right call.
That's why I like skate shoes. Skate shoes are so comfortable. They got all the padding in them and everything is great.
And you'll spend the extra money on them.
It's like walking on pillows.
And you'll spend the extra money. And that's what the Panthers just did. They went and found the pair of shoes that gave them stability, that gave them support, that let them know that when you are in the heat of it, these shoes are really good for you. It may not be the best in the world. You'll find out after you wear them for 2 or 3 years, and maybe you'll end up with something better. But for right now, they're the best you can do. And if you got to spend an extra $60 to get them, so be it. And that's exactly what happened here. And it was the right damn decision. If you're going to go quarterback here, as much as I don't have a problem with a team that rolls the dice on Anthony Richardson. I think the dude is absolutely worth the gamble, even with a high draft pick. No problem with rolling the dice. But I truly, genuinely believe, with all the moves they made this offseason, with Frank Reich wearing the visor, the Panthers are, Adam Thielen said this on McAfee's show yesterday, the Panthers are a Super Bowl caliber roster right now, if and only if they find the right quarterback. So instead of taking a project that might take you a year or two and letting Andy Dalton lead the way, go find the dude that is as close to ready to plug and play as you can get. And if it costs you more, it costs you more. That's what they did, and it was the right damn call. Text 71307. Start your text with fam. We'll read them on the air. Text just says, no one is taking Richardson. He is this year's Malik Willis, a smokescreen. I am going to tell you that Anthony Richardson ain't making it to pick number 9. All right. Maybe the Cats could have stayed there and snagged him with the number 9, but he ain't making it past 9. I don't think he makes it to 9. Somebody's going to give that kid a crack just because of the raw athletic prowess. When we come back, did Nick Saban take a crack at Nate Oates, his own school's basketball coach? And if so, freaking hilarious, is it? Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Yes, it's about that time. The Carolina Panthers are on the clock with the first overall selection. This is really the year that's going to prove if we like all of the upsets in March Madness. Can we stop, and so much more?
Number 1 for real afternoon sports talk.
Offsides with Mark Ryan.
3 to 7. The Fan.
Upstate.
Okay, I'm back.
We'll see sunny skies today, high 60 degrees. Tonight,
All right, ladies and gents, we are back.
You look your best. Believe me, if they can make me look good, they can do it for anybody. I'm the before picture. Visit Smith & James at 222 Trade Street in Greer or at their new location on Verde Boulevard in Greenville, and visit them online at smithandjames.com.
This feature is sponsored by Jackson Hewitt. Taxes are almost due. Hurry into Jackson Hewitt for 50% off tax prep, but do it before April 9th. Limited time offer for new clients filing at participating locations. Max savings $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
Sponsored by Great Southern Homes. Today is the day to visit a Great Southern Homes community right here in the upstate. Our designer decorated model homes are open daily. Live green, live smart with our energy efficient smart home plans. We add new listings daily. GreatSouthernHomes.com.
More than the scores. Real sports talk for real sports fans.
The Rock Brown Show. Now,
Okay. Okay. Little Zydeco music ain't never hurt nobody.
Reminds me of Mario music.
Man. You got me right in the from home feels, my man. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
That's for you, man.
Love it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me get this in because it's what's the word I'm looking for? Hilarious. The situation that provoked it is not. The situation that provoked it is quite sad. Nick Saban, intentional or not, never fails to make me laugh. All right? Like, dude can be serious as a heart attack, yet still give me the lulls every now and then. So, you remember the story we've been talking about with the Alabama basketball team. We've been talking about Brandon Miller, right? Brandon Miller was involved in somehow, some way, depending on who you ask, a shooting committed by Darius Miles that killed a young woman, a 23-year-old mother from Birmingham, Alabama, outside of a nightclub. Brandon Miller's participation in that shooting led to a very tense discussion about whether or not he should have been allowed to continue playing for Bama basketball while all of this was going down. Brandon Miller was allowed to play. He participated in the game where Alabama came to Columbia and South Carolina took him to OT before falling by 5, I think. And it was just not a pretty picture. Brandon Miller and his Alabama Crimson Tide make the tournament as the number 1 overall seed, and they got to play their first round games where? In Birmingham, Alabama. And there were so many threats against Brandon Miller that Brandon Miller had to have his own personal armed security to escort him to and from Bama basketball games for the first 2 rounds in Birmingham. Nate Oates, the head coach for the Alabama basketball team, got into a little bit of trouble because after Brandon Miller's involvement came to light, Nate Oates defended him by saying that he was, quote, in the wrong place at the wrong time, end quote. That he shouldn't have to pay a punishment because he was not charged with anything. He did not violate any law. He just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now, that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, right? I mean, it is one thing to be in a car with somebody who, like, gets pulled over and had some weed in the car that a player didn't know about it. That's one thing. But then there's the other situation. There's a situation where you're involved with a gun at a bar late at night. The wrong place, wrong time thing didn't work out that great. Nate Oates got hammered for that comment. Well, Tony Mitchell is an Alabama football player at this point. He is currently suspended from the team. Why? Because Tony Mitchell was involved in an incident that at the very least saw him run from the 5-0 in a vehicle that is alleged to have reached over 140 miles per hour during the escape. There's obviously more to the story because Nick Saban suspended Tony Mitchell from the team and all team activities while Alabama gathers information about the situation. Nick Saban got asked about this in a press conference yesterday. And what did Nick Saban say yesterday? Here's a direct quote. Everybody's got an opportunity to make choices and decisions. There's no such thing as being in the wrong place at the wrong time. End quote. So Nate Oates says, poor Brandon Miller was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Literally a week and a half later, Nick Saban says, there's no such thing as being in the wrong place at the wrong time, end quote. Now, a number of journalists for the area of Tuscaloosa, Alabama, say that This was not Nick Saban taking a shot at Nate Oates. This is not Nick Saban taking a run at Bama basketball, taking a run at his own school's disciplinary process, etc. This was just Nick being Nick and using a Sabanism to make a point about Tony Mitchell, right? And maybe that's the case. Maybe Nick Saban didn't even know that Nate Oates said that Brandon Miller was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Maybe he had no idea that that comment got made in the first place. But it's not a great look. It's not a great look at all. At the very worst, it makes it look like your football coach is going in on your basketball coach. And we saw how that worked out this past season at Kentucky, right? With Calipari and Stoops at Kentucky having a debate when there was money on the line where Stoops was saying, yo, we need to invest in the football program because Kentucky, and accurately, is on the cusp of turning the corner and becoming a respectable SEC program. And John Cal fired back out with, yeah, we're a basketball school, right? Which is a bad look. It's a bad look because it's just openly crapping on the football program in an SEC school. Not a great look. Because most Kentucky fans, while they may be basketball fans first, still want to see the football team do well. So to have the basketball coach take a run at the football coach, not a great look for your program, not a great look for certainly the basketball coach or the football coach. And here you've got Nick. It does one of two things. It either A, makes it look as if he is definitely taking a run at the basketball coach, or B, it makes it look like he's disconnected from what's happening at the school in the athletics department. Now, it is not Nick Saban's job nor responsibility to know about or give a damn about the basketball program. Nick Saban has one job at the University of Alabama: win football games. That's it. That's the task. That's what makes him Alabama's highest paid state employee. Win football games. So it's not really his job to follow the inner workings of the basketball team. You know, you'd like to think that football coaches would do whatever they can to help their other sports departments get on the map, because the more you're in the national limelight, the better it is for everybody. But hey, not his job. It's just not a good look. But more importantly than it being not a good look, it is hilarious to me. Hilarious that a week and a half ago, Nate Oates said Brandon Miller was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Week and a half later, Nick Saban says, quote, there's no such thing as being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Would not love to be a Bama fan right now. The first thought that I had when I read that quote last night, you ever seen the meme of the two red buttons and the guy sweating trying to decide which one to push? Imagine now being in a spot where your basketball coach, who just got Alabama, the #1 overall seed in the NCAA basketball championship tournament, saying you can be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And then on the other hand, Nick Saban, who has built Alabama into arguably the only current dynasty in football, saying there's no such thing as being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Those are two fundamentally mutually exclusive comments made by the #1 seed overall basketball coach and the most legendary football coach since Bear Bryant, frankly, at Alabama or anywhere else. Like, it's not a funny situation, but it's kind of a funny situation. I'm not going, this is Saban from the top rope. I'm not saying this is Saban taking a run at Nate Oates, but it kind of is, right? And I don't wonder, I'm not saying this is the case. Let me be very clear about this. I am not saying this is the case. I'm not saying I have evidence that this is the case. I'm not saying I believe this to be the case, but there is a part of me, in the back of my dumb little brain, that wonders, is Saban frustrated because Alabama football just missed the playoffs, or I should say, and Alabama football just missed the playoffs, and all of the sudden, Alabama basketball is the biggest show on campus, right? Alabama football is not going anywhere. Alabama football could come out this year and go 6-6, and they're still going to be sold out for every home game for the next decade. Their fans are relentless. But right now, what sport's carrying the banner in Tuscaloosa? It's basketball. And I kind of wonder if maybe, just a little bit, this is Nick Saban's frustrations with that situation bubbling up to the surface. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying it might be. Texter says, Rob, Saban is right. I don't entirely agree or disagree, to be honest with you. I absolutely think you can be in the wrong place at the wrong time. I have a perfect example. Last year, I went to a concert at a very well-known establishment in the area. And about 40 minutes before the concert started, we got there early to make sure we had a good spot to stand and watch. About 40 minutes before the concert ended, about 2 rows ahead of me, 2 guys got into a fight. One of the guys took a full beer bottle and I've never seen this in a fight in real life, straight broke it over the head of the other dude. The other dude is bleeding profusely down his neck.
It sucks.
I have no doubt. It looked like it hurt. It sounded like it hurt.
Yeah.
So I'm like 2 rows back of where this happens. Obviously, as it happens, everybody kind of starts to back up and get out of the circle, right? So as they back up and get out of the circle, I'm the next one in line. Well, it's me, one of my buddies, our 2 girlfriends, and like 3 of their girlfriends, yeah? So I'm the next person in the line. And I kind of put my arms out to the side. I shepherd the girls behind us. And now I'm like, I got to get in there and stop this, right? This dude is bleeding profusely from his head. The other's got a busted, stabby end of a glass bottle. If he goes after this dude and shanks this guy, he's going to die. I got to stop this.
Yeah. Yeah.
The lady friend grabs me by the back of the blue jeans, and she's like, no. I'm like, I've got to stop this. This can't go on. That guy could die. She goes, so could you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I was like, damn, all right, that's fair. Like, I want to help this guy. I need to help this guy. But she had a point. If I go in there and that dude with the bottom half of a beer bottle thinks that I'm getting myself engaged in the fight, my computer shut down. It's restarting itself. It's updating itself.
What's up, everybody?
So for those of you on the stream wondering where the hell I went, I'll be back in just a minute. Anyway, if I went in there and the guy with the busted beer bottle thinks that I'm coming in to help that other guy and he shanks me, wrong place, wrong time. This is at like 8 o'clock. This isn't at 2:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
This is at like 8 o'clock in a respected bar, music venue, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was wrong place, wrong time. Y'all, I've never been in a fight in my life. I've never been punched in the face. I got no interest. Seems like it would suck.
It does.
I got zero interest in it. I avoid fights. One of the good news about being a professional BSer like I am is that I taught my way out of most every time that would otherwise end with me getting knocked in the dome. Had I gotten involved there, had she not been there, grab me by the back of the jeans and be like, do not do this, and I had walked into that, I could have absolutely gotten shanked. Was I in the wrong place at the wrong time? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a big difference between that and let me bring this gun to my boy who's drunk at a nightclub at 2:30 in the morning. There's a big difference between that and let me get up over a $140 MPH running from the 5-0, right? Those are different circumstances. I get the premise that Saban is correct. And I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying it's not an all-inclusive thought here. I'm not saying that Nate Oates is wrong. I absolutely think that sometimes some people can be in the wrong place at the wrong time. I'm just saying you don't get to use that as a catch-all, right? You don't get to say, oh, Brandon Miller was in the wrong place at the wrong time. No, it wasn't. He brought a gun to one of his boys in the middle of the night who just left the club. That's the wrong place at a time of your choosing. There's a big difference, right? There's a massive difference. So anyway, with all of that being said, with all of that being considered, I just find it amusing that Saban just took, unintentionally or intentionally, a direct shot at his own school's basketball coach. And it leads me to believe it is a fair thought to have that, hey, maybe he's frustrated because for the first time since he's been the coach at Alabama, football ain't top dog right now. Shooty Hoops is. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up this show. I am Rob Brown, T2 at the board. The Rob Brown Show is on the radio. This is the Fan Upstate.
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
Men's NCAA basketball Sweet 16 action starts Thursday with Michigan State squaring off with Kansas State. UConn facing Arkansas.
DTX 450K 5-piece.
Friday, San Diego State against Alabama. Houston battles Miami. Princeton takes on Creighton while Xavier faces Texas. NBA last night in overtime, the Bulls beat the Sixers.
See what it looks like.
The Warriors over the Rockets 121.
My drummer just got a electric kit.
Nice.
So I'm going to try to program some sounds into it. Oh, yeah, I've seen this one. I think this is the one my father-in-law has. Let's see.
Search the Fan Upstate, then listen anywhere on your phone. Chuck Sanders on the Fan Upstate.
From the Ingalls Market Studio, the Fan.
Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
Yes, sports radio. So I got Twitter up. I'm ready for that.
Beautiful. We're going to come back with what? Like 48-ish?
Yeah.
Just go right into it. Just open with the sounder.
Okay. Just want me to, yeah, I'll just come back with it. No, we can play the rejoin and come back with it, actually.
Well, it's got some music.
Oh, yeah, it's got music on it. That's right. All right, I'll go come back with it. Hold up. Twitter.
Like any good agent, we're here for the open house, for the closing, for handing over keys. But because we're realtors, we're here for so much more.
What?
Agents who are realtors.
Okay, I'm assuming that's it.
3 times the national
Yeah,
average.
it is.
We're working to broaden access to credit, increase affordable housing supply.
I gotta go to the eye doctor. I lost my glasses. I can't find them anywhere. I lost them when I moved.
Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
I'm Scott Trout, attorney and CEO of the domestic litigation firm Cordell & Cordell. We help men deal with the life changes triggered by divorce, such as child custody and property division, among many others. But life changes also occur after divorce. These changes can be parts of your existing court order irrelevant. If you feel a modification to your court orders might be necessary, talk to us at Cordell & Cordell. We're a partner men can count on.
Online at CordellCordell.com. 5580 Place, Suite 900, Greenville, South Carolina, 29601. Scott Trout, licensed in Missouri, Illinois, and Georgia only.
Tax refund shock is everywhere. But what is it?
My tax refund shrank.
Mine too. The culprit, pandemic-related stimulus payments and tax credits expiring. In this reporter's opinion, you need a tax expert.
Hey guys, Jackson Hewitt guarantees your biggest refund.
And tax prep is 50% off? Going there now.
50% off is a limited time offer for new clients filing at participating locations. Max value $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
Hey guys, this is Keenan Thompson. I have a problem with you. Yes, you. None of y'all told me that Auto Trader has millions of new and used cars that I can shop from home. I thought we were friends. I put smiles on your face, but I'm not smiling. No one told me that with Auto Trader, a dealer can deliver cars to my home, or that I could shop by price on Auto Trader. No one. Consider this friendship that you just learned we had officially over. Finally, it's easy. Auto Trader.
Lowe's MVP's bonus days are back for pros. Right now, buy a DeWalt 20-volt max power stack battery 2-pack for $199 and get a select DeWalt Bear tool free. Plus, earn 3 times the bonus points on all the Tabo HPT tools and products. Shop even more.
That is the truest thing that's ever been trued there, Steven. That is just a fact. Probably accurate, Tracy. Probably accurate.
Always find what you love at Total Wine and More. With so many bottles to choose from at the lowest price, it's easy to find your favorite Cabernet.
Sorry, Kevin. Sorry that being mean to Lonzo is the thing that keeps you entertained so much about the show. Tell the boys on the other station we said hello. I like those guys. I'm friends with them. They're nice guys. Sorry that you feel that being mean is your entertainment, Kev. You know we still love you. You're welcome back whenever you want to join us again.
All right. For today's trending topics, what do we got here? Hashtag Xbox Series X.
You know, I still haven't upgraded, right? I'm still on the one. Which has been fine, except it's starting to get to the point where it's impacting the games I want to play, right? Because you're starting to see more and more games that are being primary released for S, or what's the other one, Series X?
Yeah.
The new consoles, the next gen consoles. Lonzo started playing the Harry Potter game a month and a half ago. I don't have access to it for another 2 weeks, right?
You have PS4 though, don't you?
Nope, I got an Xbox One.
Oh, I thought you did have PS4.
Now, I will tell you that I think this spring is gonna be update time for Rob Brown. I think in the spring I'm gonna have to update. Now, part of it is because with the processing power, I run Call of Duty. That's primarily at this point the only game I'm playing. I did find a Star Trek MMORPG that I started playing last night. Very excited about that. Got some of the original cast members acting as voice actors in the show, so it's got some OG characters, which is pretty dope. I have found I'm big on No Man's Sky right now. Love space exploration games, so I'm big on No Man's Sky. But the problem is these games are becoming so more intricate. You just got to have more processing power to be able to run them efficiently. And most of the games that are coming out now, they're coming out for next gen. And basically, if they can retrofit it to one, that's great. And if they can't, they don't. But good Lord, they're expensive, man.
Oh, yeah, they are. Oh, well, I mean, if you're not a huge gamer, but you just play casually, I suggest you get the Xbox S.
Yeah.
It's the digital version. You just have to download the games and move them if you need to.
The problem that I find myself in is that I'm kind of a tweener, right? Like when I'm playing COD with the boys, I go hard, man. I've got the gaming chair. I've got the nice Turtle Bay headset.
Dude, I got to play with you. I know. I'm so bad about that. I'm going to play with you real soon.
Here's the thing. I got a good setup, right? I got the gaming chair. I've got the surround sound. I've got the Turtle Beach headset that I play when I'm multiplayering. I'm on a 60-inch TV. Like, I got a nice gaming setup. The problem is I suck, right? And so it's like, I suck, so practicing video games isn't fun. And also practicing video games sounds just meticulous. But on the flip side, it's like I play enough to justify the upgrade, but I'm not good enough to justify the upgrade.
No, I mean, I disagree with that. You upgrade, is like you said, when you upgrade, you're upgrading processing power and, the overall gaming experience. I mean, you get graphics out of it. I mean, it's not just about, if you're good or not. So, yeah, I mean, I would say that if you are a casual gamer and you want to play some of the newer games, then just get the Xbox Series S or the digital version of the PS5.
Yeah, I'm probably, that's the other thing is, I got to decide which way I'm going, right? Or at least up front, because I'm not going to be able to afford both of them out of the gate. The question is, so I've been an Xbox guy since college, right? I've been an Xbox guy since the OG Xbox dropped with Halo on it. And I haven't left Xbox the whole time, but there's been a lot of games that are PlayStation exclusive that I really wanted to play.
Yeah. And see, I was like that because I really liked Halo, but I was a PlayStation guy because at the time, one of my favorite franchises was Final Fantasy. So that was only strictly for PlayStation. So I switched to PlayStation and I really miss playing Halo, but now I finally am at the point where I got both. I can do both now, which is really cool. I just haven't found the time to play through Halo yet.
Fair enough. All right, what else we got trending?
All right, next up on trending topics, we have hashtag. You want another game one?
It doesn't matter. Whatever.
Fallen Order.
This is a new one that's coming out, right? Next Star Wars game.
Yeah.
Over the past.
Well, Fallen Order's already come out. I think they're making a new one.
Making a new one, right?
Yeah.
It's like Fallen Order 2 or something. I will say this. Over the past 15 years, the video games and the animated shows about Star Wars have been better than the movies. Hands down, not a question.
I agree.
That is a statement of fact, not an invitation for debate. The animated shows have been excellent. The video games have been excellent. And only really with season 1 of The Mandalorian and Andor have the live action properties started to catch back up.
Don't forget about Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan
was good, but I don't put it on par. I loved it.
I did.
But I don't put it on par with Mandalorian or Andor.
It's one of my favorites now.
Anything that they do Star Wars video games at this point, it's a first day of release buy for me.
Oh, yeah, same here. Especially with the new open world stuff that they're doing. Because of the open world
games are so much better.
Yeah, I mean, they're just like, it's like those old, like, what are they? Like those pixelated RPG games where you kind of imagined what it looked like, but you have this blurry picture. Now it's starting to become clear when you play these games. Oh, yeah. It's like you're almost there with them.
All right, what else we got trending?
All right, trending topics. You're gonna love this one. Hashtag Taco Tuesday.
Big Taco Tuesday
guy. Oh my God, I love tacos.
Big Taco Tuesday guy. I'll also tell you what I'm doing tonight. I love I love Mexican food. Love Mexican food. But I also think enjoy Mexican food. First step is to make the realization that American Mexican food is just the same 5 ingredients wrapped and layered in a different way. Right? So for me, Taco Tuesday is just Mexican food day. Last night I made those. I told you back in the first hour, I made stuffed bell peppers, right? With a ground turkey, cheese, tomato filling.
You got to text me that recipe later.
I absolutely will. I've decided I'm going to make the same thing tonight, but I'm going to add rice and lettuce and wrap them in a burrito.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be bomb as hell.
Yeah, dude. Anything in a burrito is good.
Burritos are the best. That's just all there is to it.
All right. Next one. Are we doing another?
Yeah,
one?
I think we're out of time. We will.
Oh yeah, we are definitely out of time.
There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for being a part of the show so that I can, get paid. Do this as a job.
Thank you for having me as well.
Of course. TT will be back tomorrow. So will I. 9 to noon. We'll do it all over again, but better. Have a great rest of your day. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. We'll see you back here tomorrow for more of the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later, brother. Stream, you guys are incredible. Thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out with us. We appreciate it more and more every day. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for more of the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, y'all.
Love you. Bye.